We're approaching 61 Cygni, planet 27 for the 37th Trideca observation. All scanners on.
Well, Captain, I see 30 years hasn't changed the atmosphere any. It's just as deadly now as on our last visit.
It'll take a lot longer than 30 years to clear that up. I'll take us in closer. Tape the pass-by.
Instruments indicate heavy gases have built up at surface level.
Atmosphere verified at 6 km.
You know, I find it difficult to believe an entire civilization could just die like this.
Well, Karan, it didn't happen suddenly. In fact, the changes were so gradual, they never understood what was happening to their world until the process was irreversible.
Surely they must have been forewarned.
They were. But by the time they grasped the situation, they couldn't bring about the unity of purpose necessary to save the planet. This is a classic case of a civilization overwhelmed by its own technology. This is Astron 7 calling Galaxia Kentron. We have taped the coordinates for the observation pass, planet 27, 61 Cygni. If no counter instructions, we will proceed immediately to Galaxy 208, Solar System 127, planet 3, for our 360th Trideca report.
Programmed arrival, 36 light hours.
Speed course 208-1273.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Star speed 4. Log the entry course, please.
Yes, sir. As you know, Captain, this is my first visit to this planet.
I think you'll find it a fascinating world, Karan. I've been studying it now for 10 centuries.
Third planet from a star. Is it people?
Oh, yes, it is. They call themselves man, and their planet, Earth. This is Astron 7 calling Galaxia Kentron. We're making our first pass over Planet 3, System 127, Galaxy 208. All scanners on and recording.
How advanced are these Earthlings?
Well, they're just about at the midpoint of their potential, although the thrust of this development has taken place only in the past few hundred years.
Anything approaching our level?
Though different from us in many respects, they're on an evolutionary course not dissimilar to that which our own ancestors experienced 250,000 years ago.
In transition, then?
A necessary phase which all sentient creatures must experience if they're to evolve toward a higher level of awareness.
Captain, we have a visitor.
That's just one of their space probes, Karan. Please log its position and polar bearing.
Do these Earthlings all speak the same language?
No, they speak diverse languages and have evolved into geographic divisions they call nations. Though certainly what they have in common as men far outweighs any fine distinctions of language. While I'm adjusting the scanner, why not take a look at this tape? It concerns one nation down there that has been of special interest to me these past few hundred years. Almost a hobby, you might say.
What distinguishes it from similar nations on this planet?
Well, in a relatively short span of time, this particular country has evolved quite a complex and advanced economic system. One that may offer the best hope for balancing the tensions that always exist between the individual and the group. The social conflict between what is rightfully private property and what is public. In short, man versus the state.
Now, the science of designing and building robots and the productive use of these modern-day machines is called robotics. Robotics. Let's get on with our story without...
Mr. Shottier. Mr. Shottier. May I have your autograph, please?
Isn't that cute? This little character wants my autograph.
You're watching Sleepcore. Pleasant dreams.
I'm Peter Schwartz, and I'm a futurist. What I do basically is help people think more creatively about the future so they can make decisions here in the present about the world that they anticipate in the years to come, so they can avoid some of the problems that they're likely to encounter and take advantage of some of the opportunities. We work mostly with government and businesses around the world, helping them to think more intelligently about tomorrow. In this show, we'll take a look at the people who are working on the cutting edge of these new technologies and meet a suburban family experiencing the new media in their own home.
Well, I've always been into some type of art, always, ever since I was a little kid. Drawing, painting, clay, all of it. But when we got the stuff in the house, I went wild with it. I mean, I'd stay up all night for weeks on end, get my mother crazy. Anyway, you know, none of my friends or kids I knew from school seemed too interested. So then I put up this ad in the on the computer bulletin board. And here, want to see it? Okay. It said,
"Are you computer artists freaking out on this new technology? Sitting up all night because you can't stop drawing? Me too. Let's talk about it. Send replying artwork to MV622. Well, I saved it and I kept it in memory, and I remember it was between an ad for a used outboard motor and a Chinese cooking class. Maybe there was someone else out there who did the same things that I did. So I answered it.
Then I got this. There's no name, no note, nothing, just the code number. Well, I loved it. And so I sent back some of mine.
I didn't even think she was going to send anything back to me. She liked them, though. She liked them a lot.
And I couldn't wait to find out what he thought of my stuff. And he told me he liked it. And he said he really liked it. Anyway, so he loved it. And what else?
So I had this strategy already planned out, to where two people could draw on the same screen at the same time, but be on two different terminals.
I mean, I thought I was into this, but well, anyways, we started drawing together. And I don't know, it just worked. It worked. He picked up on it immediately. He was just there with me.
My parents got on my case for not going out and stuff and spending all my time in my room, and
we would do it like all night long. And I would start falling asleep in school. I didn't care. I didn't care about anything. It just felt like magic. Something was happening. It was something else. I don't know. I never had anything like it before, so I don't know how to describe it really, but
So, we had everything settled and everything was going fine. And then she wanted to meet me.
Hey, who is this guy? I wanted to meet him, but he hesitated.
I didn't know whether she was fat or ugly, or if she'd think that I was weird because I like doing the things that I do, and...
What we did was we agreed to send these pictures of each other, of ourselves, through the computer. That way it's like a little fuzzy, leave a little to the imagination still, you know. And then the next step after that was we decided to meet at the downtown McDonald's, and he was to wear a red carnation, which he did not wear.
Because I know a lot of kids that work there, and I don't think I'd wear it.
And I knew him the second I saw him anyways, immediately. I knew it was him. Just, you know.
And we've been together ever since.
I swear, it was like we had known each other for a really long time.
As we move into this new era, access to information becomes a new kind of wealth. In the past, wealth was money, stuff, goods, land. But as more and more of our employment, as more and more of what counts in the world is in the form of information, whether it's in the financial system, whether it's in think tanks like SRI, whether it's in public policy, doesn't really matter. Information becomes a new kind of wealth, and we'll have the information rich and the information poor. Those who feel comfortable with the technology, those who feel comfortable with abstraction, those who feel comfortable with quantification, and those who don't. And we'll have no's and no-nots, if you will.
Welcome to Clear Thinking, a program designed to help the user formulate specific ideas and concepts based on user input. The program is basically self-explanatory, but if you have any questions now or during the program, just ask for help. Try to speak clearly in a normal tone of voice, and feel free to say whatever enters your mind. What would you like to discuss?
Oh, I don't know. I just know I'm upset.
Describe in 1 or 2 words what "I'm upset" brings to mind.
I'm upset about all this stuff in my house.
Can you define stuff in my house?
All the computers.
So, you're upset about all the computers.
Yes.
Describe in detail what "upset about all the computers" brings to mind.
I don't know what's happening. I feel like I am losing control of my family, that I'm not in charge anymore. They don't come to dinner, God knows who they're with, and... Not used to my husband at home all the time.
Describe in detail how...
I'm not finished. It scares me. They spend all their time at those things, and I don't know what they're doing or what it's doing to them. So I get strict and parenty, and I'm frustrated.
Frustrated is a key word. Would you like to comment?
Well, I think I should be doing something, but I don't know what to do. You see, if I could figure out all...
Now, look over what you've said and pick out the key phrases which describe "upset about all the computers." Prioritize these phrases in a vertical order, from the most important on the top to the least important on the bottom.
I I'm losing control. What it's doing to them. I'm frustrated. What I should do, and they don't come to dinner.
How does what it's doing to them generate or imply frustrated?
Well, I think there are other things they should know. Values, respect for other people, compassion, but they won't listen to me. I mean, what can a computer teach them about respect, about love?
Love is a key word. Would you like to comment?
It means never having to say you're sorry.
How does never having to say you're sorry generate or imply they don't come to dinner?
Strike that, Okay, next.
Look back over what you have said and describe your subjective feelings upset about all the computers.
Subjective feelings. I'm confused, frustrated. I feel left out and taken for granted. I'm mad. And I feel intimidated.
Outline how you would like to react to upset about all the computers and what active steps you could take to alleviate the problem.
Well, I'd like to feel more in control again. And I'd like to spend more time with my kids so I could learn what they're doing and I could understand it all. And I'd like to stop talking to the computer now.
Stop is a key word. Would you like to comment?
Yes.
You're watching Sleepcore, media for insomnia.
Meet the DCX, Delta Clipper Experimental, a rocket for the people, a revolutionary approach to lowering launch costs, which takes us back to the future of spaceflight, an entirely new philosophy in the development of launch technology. The Delta Clipper team has taken the common sense, tried and true approach of commercial aviation and applied it for the first time to rockets. In early rocket designs, the mass of the equipment and propellant needed to fly long distances was found to be too high. Since the cost of the vehicle was less important than delivering its payload on what was usually a one-way trip, it was decided to throw away those parts of the rocket no longer being used in the flight, progressively making it lighter as it flew towards its target. This is the type of traditional multi-stage vehicle we currently use. Imagine what an airline ticket would cost if each trip started out with an entire plane and ended with only the passenger cabin, and then was rebuilt for the return flight only to be mostly thrown away again. The cost would forever keep flying beyond the grasp of all but a few. That's the situation we face today. We know from experience that we should maintain a mixed fleet of launch capability. But if the goal of our space program is a dramatic reduction in the cost of launching payloads, then it's also time for the next step, a reusable rocket system that operates as routinely as today's military and commercial aircraft. This is why the DCX single-stage rocket is so important. In 1990, the Defense Department selected 4 of the nation's leading aerospace contractors to conduct a Phase 1 feasibility study of the single-stage-to-orbit concept based on available computer, propulsion, and materials technologies. The study's mandate was to answer 3 main questions. Can it be done? Can it be done quickly? And can it be done cheaply? After careful studies by the best minds at each firm, all 4 agreed. The answer to all 3 questions was yes. Single stage to orbit will work. Taking a page from aircraft development programs, Phase 2 of the project was to rapidly prototype X vehicles of increasing size and performance. This aircraft style of development, in which a series of test vehicles are repeatedly flown to incrementally push the envelope of a concept, had never been applied to rockets. First, a 1/3 scale vehicle called DCX would be built to prove the concept and to conduct low-speed flight and maneuvering tests. Next, if funding is made available, will come a vehicle twice the size of the DCX, which will obtain speeds well into the hypersonic range. This vehicle will support commercial and military testing and be our next step on the way to the single-stage-to-orbit fleet, which will be the heart of our 21st century launch industry. In 1991, McDonnell Douglas's Delta Clipper vertical takeoff and landing design was selected for Phase 2, designated the Single Stage Rocket Technology Program, SSRT, to demonstrate technology availability of reusable rocket systems. A suborbital demonstrator was ordered, and an industry team made up of some of the world's top aerospace companies was formed to take on the challenge. These companies, representing some of the best capabilities in the field, contributed vital elements of the program. They too believe that single-stage rocket technology has arrived. In August 1991, at McDonnell Douglas's facility in Huntington Beach, California, the new team was assembled. In keeping with the project's revolutionary nature, a new rapid prototyping environment was created. This X designation and the streamlined project structure provided the right environment for success. Since one of the goals of the project was to incorporate aircraft-like systems wherever possible, top engineers and designers from the successful MD-11 airliner, the F-15, the F-18, and the AV-8B Harrier projects were brought in to work together with our rocket engineering staff. Overcoming dozens of technical hurdles, borrowing technology from a wide variety of space, aircraft, and other fields, and creating many new and innovative solutions to the single-stage challenge, the DCX team drove forward to realize their vision, and by early 1993, the vehicle was completed. While the vehicle was being built, a mini spaceport was constructed in White Sands, New Mexico. The spaceport contains everything needed for the DCX flight testing, including maintenance and service technicians required to turn the vehicle around after each flight. The entire DCX flight support team numbers about 35 people. In this small operations van, which is very similar to that plan for the full-size Delta Clipper, only 3 people will be required to launch and fly the vehicle using Macintosh or Windows-like computer interfaces. For its first flight, the DCX will take off and hover just above the ground as its systems are verified. Then it will perform a soft touchdown on its landing gear. Next, it will be flown to higher altitudes and faster speeds in both still and windy conditions, where it will demonstrate its aerodynamic performance. Then it will be flown to several thousand feet. where it will be ordered to pitch over into its landing approach flight path. Next, it will demonstrate its critical rotation maneuver. Finally, using its onboard vehicle management system with its global positioning receiver, the DCX will perform a precision soft landing within 20 feet of its designated touchdown site. In a world ever more conscious of the environment, McDonnell Douglas is proud of the fact that the hydrogen and oxygen propellants used in our DCX will make the Delta Clipper the world's environmentally cleanest spaceship, as its exhaust will be nothing more than water vapor. The Delta Clipper single-stage rocket concept is indeed the door to space for America. Single-stage rocket research bodes a revolution in spaceflight, which will not only give our defenders the technology for global reach, but will pave the way for a whole new generation of scientists, students, and commercial researchers to enjoy unprecedented opportunities for research and exploration. The DCX is as common sense an idea as America itself. This year, the McDonnell Douglas Delta Clipper team will change the world. Single-stage rockets have arrived. DCX, the future is now.
You're watching Sleepcore. Sleep tight.
In the eyes of man, an old idea is about to change. Our concept of time, it will be rewritten. Our words life and death and age all redefined. Toward immortality, man's slow and ancient walk on this planet will become a race. The gain measured in decades, no longer months or single years. The vision, the chance, simply this: that child about to be born will live more years, gather more wisdom, come to know more generations living with the same last name than any human child born in all of history. And it's a journey we've already begun. Today, in government labs, in private labs across the country, scientists are examining the secrets of aging hidden in the chemistry of man. Under their microscopes, the blood cells and antibodies of the immune system, the body's genetic code, the double helix of DNA, the powerful enzymes and hormones that give cells life and then take it away, even the chemical transmitters inside our brain. It is here, life magnified 1,000 times, where the researchers work, and they are nearer to solving the puzzle of life and death than ever before. Dr. Robert Butler, founding director of the National Institute on Aging.
These fields are spectacular. There's just no doubt what they're going to continue to take off. They're already taking off. And by the turn of the century, it's just inevitable that we're going to have many means of intervening in the aging process itself.
If the words "toward immortality" sound like science fiction, consider how far we've already come. Today, in this nation, death from infectious or parasitic disease is rare or non-existent. Smallpox, scarlet fever, cholera, dysentery, diphtheria, tuberculosis, the great killers of our recent past, are now gone, or very nearly so, and the result is a life expectancy today that would have seemed godlike to ancient man. 2,000 years ago, in ancient Rome, half the population was dead by the age of 22. Imagine, a life expectancy of just 22 years. And then, in the middle of the last century, it jumped to 40 years, and then to about 47 years at the beginning of this century. And today, on average, We will live nearly 75 years. Our life expectancy has almost doubled in just 5 generations. It's increased 50% since the year our grandparents were born. But there's a problem here. The way we've extended our lives in the past won't work, cannot work in the future. Let me explain what I mean. In the past, each time we've conquered a disease, we've added more years to our lives. But today, even if we were to find a cure for the major diseases left, our life expectancy would only increase a few more years. Let me give you a couple of examples. According to the Public Health Service, if every variety of cancer suddenly disappeared, life expectancy would increase just 2 years and 4 months. If tomorrow morning all heart disease was suddenly cured, we would live less than 6 more years. So if most of us are to live to be 100, 120, even 150 years of age, it won't be by treating specific diseases, but by altering the aging process itself. Man, like every animal alive, has a chemical defense system on duty 24 hours a day, without which, in a matter of hours, all of us would die. This defense is armed with enzymes, hormones, antibodies of 1,000 different kinds that protect us from the natural hazards of life, viruses, bacteria, cancer, even poisons called free radicals produced by our own bodies. The problem, in theory at least, is that this system is just like the rest of us. It grows old, weak, less effective with age, and in the war against disease that begins the day we're born, toward the end of life, the attacking cancer or viruses finally win, the chemical defenders lose, we grow old, and then we die. Now, one way to solve this problem is to find a way to kill each disease one by one, which is what science has been doing for centuries, but there might be another way. We might strengthen the body's own defense and let it kill the disease, whatever it is. In other words, if the most powerful medicine ever designed, the body's own protective chemistry, works so well when we're young, why not just beef it up, somehow reinforce that chemistry when we need it most, in old age? That way we might not only cure diseases that come with age, but prevent aging altogether, or at least slow it down. And it is at this frontier that medical science has finally arrived.
I feel myself that we'll be extending lifespan by simple means easily before the end of the century. Some areas are increasing the DNA repair rate. There's good evidence that that would extend lifespan. Better information about how to counteract free radicals in the body, other ways of handling the deterioration of the immune system. So there are a lot of things coming off the scientific workbench now, and if any of them work, then we'll have a big step forward.
He doesn't have much longer to live. At worst, a few hours. At most, a few months, perhaps. In fact, according to his doctor, 59-year-old William Keith, retired postman, shouldn't be alive right now. After years of high blood pressure, heavy drinking, and smoking 2 packs a day, only 10% of his heart muscle is still pumping, is still alive. And while this may seem harsh, he is in this condition because, like many of us, in a way, he chose to be. Despite hypertension and a heart attack 12 years ago, he continued to drink and smoke, and sometimes he forgot his blood pressure medications, so now he can't walk, he can hardly talk, and he can't be sure he'll ever see his wife again after today. The point is, extending human lifespan will come in part because science will find new ways to treat disease, and then we'll find a way to alter aging itself. Beyond that, however, how long we live is and will be largely up to us. And some of the hazards are pretty obvious. Excessive drinking, cigarette smoking, obesity, too much sugar, salt, fat in our food, not enough exercise. But there are other things that aren't obvious at all.